welcome to Logistics Strategy. This is Mark Spielis, and in this first podcast, I'm going to talk you through the various pieces of business strategy, introducing supply chain strategy and all the different concepts that support business strategy. So welcome to this. Hopefully through this podcast, you find that you can lose yourself in logistics strategy. And I hope that by the end of this, you're able to piece together all the various pieces of the puzzle. All right, so welcome to the community. And I do view this as a community of learning, and hopefully you get something valuable out of this podcast. Whether it's shortages of toilet paper, the shortages today that we're encountering with baby formula, delivery, and this transition of consumer behavior towards product deliveries, the chip shortage we're seeing today in the automotive industry, and inflation. We now are surrounded, and we've been surrounded, but now it's becoming a lot more apparent because it's in the media so much today, the impacts that supply chain have on society today. And even our president today is involved in supply chain and supply chain task force. So there's never been a time in history that supply chain has been in the forefront. It's been right in front of us with inflation and disruptions today. All right, so in this podcast, I'm going to take you through the various learning objectives. Number one, understanding the use of the SCOR model. I'll explain. Understanding the role of a mission statement. How does it relate to business strategy? Define core competencies. Defining the three elements or linking the three elements of business strategy, understanding the three types of business strategy, and then lastly, linking the three elements of supply chain strategy together. All right, so when we refer to supply chain management is an entire set of related processes that incorporate everything from raw materials all the way through to returns. So including manufacturing, the manufacturing of a product, the distribution of those products, the distribution potentially to a retailer, and then to the final consumer. And this also, when we look at supply chain management, also includes the returns management process as well. So all of these different processes are all part of supply chain management. So we're gonna use terms that refer to the SCOR, the supply chain operations reference. And the supply chain operations reference is a way for us to use common terms and be able to refer to processes within the supply chain. They involve planning, sourcing, making or manufacturing, delivering. We see how important that is today with the delivery of retail products, and then the return. When you look at these five processes, do not look at them as independent processes. They're all interrelated, okay? So they're all connected, and the SCOR model connects them through a set of processes. So again, when we look at the SCOR model, this is a way to communicate effectively in the industry. So partially it's understanding the various processes, but it's also finding better ways for us to communicate better within the industry regarding common terms. So in this podcast, I hope to be able to piece together all the pieces of the puzzle of business strategy and how does supply chain strategy relate to business strategy. So let's start with mission statement. So when you hear the term mission statement, it's referring to where an organization is going, the direction that they're going, or maybe their purpose, okay? So a mission statement gives you an idea where an organization is headed, where they're going to put their resources towards, what is their purpose, why do they even exist? So when you look at Walmart, they have a mission statement. Their mission statement is to help people save money so they can live better, okay? And so when you look at their mission statement, it also relates to their advertising slogan, save money, live better. So the two are related. It gives you an idea based on their mission statement, why are they in business? What is their purpose? Business strategy, though, is much more specific, okay? It describes how an organization gets there, okay? So we know where we want to get to, right? That's our mission statement. how do we get there? What's our destination? And of course, there's never a destination that's achieved. This is an ongoing journey in developing and achieving business strategy. Okay, so business strategy is defined by a couple of different elements, okay? These elements are what's contained within business strategy, okay? So when we look at that, there are structural elements that are contained within business strategy. Those structural elements are really fixed assets, buildings, trucks, trailers, computer systems, anything that is depreciated over time falls into the structural elements. So when you see a business strategy, it generally refers to structural elements and perhaps how they're going to get used. The how they're going to be used is generally referred to as an infrastructural element. So it's the policies, procedures, rules, how an organization utilizes their people and how their people utilize structural elements. So the two are connected. As you look at business strategies, understand that the two are part in their elements of the business strategy. So the second, the infrastructural part of it is generally giving people instructions on how they do their job, right? So you can have structure, which would be the buildings and the fixed assets and the trucks and trailers, or people, but it's this combination of both that go together with our business strategy. So the next term I want to discuss is core competency, right? So when I think of core competency, I think of a six-pack of abs, right? And a core competency is a strength of an organization. That strength generally comes through in what they do best, all right? And so as with a six-pack of abs, you've got to put a lot of time and energy. It's not something you get overnight. It's built up over time. The same holds true with a core competency. It's built up over a long period of time, and it's a strength of an organization, okay? So when you look at a core competency, it's an organizational strength. They build their business strategy off of this core competency. So generally, customers see value in their core competency, and it's generally difficult for competitors to copy as well. Okay, so as an example, Walmart, their core competency is logistics and supply chain. So that's a core competency for Walmart. They utilize that core competency to compete and drive lower prices for their consumers and their customers. So now we now understand a little bit better about business strategies. There's three types of business strategies: cost, differentiation, and focus. All right, so cost strategy deals with competing with your competitors based on cost. So you're driving lower costs for your products and use that as a strength, as Walmart does. So an example of this might be, I used Walmart, but another example might be Aldi. Their focus of their business strategy is on cost, and supply chain supports that. I'll get into how it supports that in just a minute. Differentiation would be distinctive products or a distinctive service. So when you look at Walmart versus Target, Target provides a little bit more of an upscale service than Walmart does, both in their service offering as well as their products. So they try and differentiate themselves from low-cost providers like Walmart and Aldi with their groceries. All right, so somewhere in between, because businesses generally don't just fit into one of these categories perfectly. I look at Amazon. So Amazon in the retail industry is really a combination of cost and differentiation. Now many of the retailers are delivering, so this differentiated service of delivery that Amazon was able to offer is now being competed for by Walmart, Target, as well as a lot of other retailers today. Then lastly, our third type of generic business strategy is the focus strategy. And this is sometimes referred to as a niche strategy. And it's serving this market that maybe the other competitors are not serving. So they find this niche. It can be a very specific, in the genre of grocery stores and retailers, a very specific niche market. In the automotive industry, that used to be Tesla. I'll say used to be because Tesla provided electric vehicles. Now it's fairly common, and it's the business strategy of many of our automotive OEMs today, General Motors, Ford, Stellantis, moving in the direction of electric vehicles. Okay, so that would be a focus strategy. They have a very specific market. So for Tesla, it was electric vehicles. There's 3 elements of business strategy. So these are elements that are contained within the business strategy. Identifying targeted customers. So who is the targeted customer, our target market? The business strategy is very specific regarding times. When are we going to achieve this goal? Okay, so we have a target market of, let's say we want to move into a target market of Asia. When are we going to do that? We're going to move into the China market. Our time frame is within 5 years, and then within 5 years, we want to have, and our performance metric is our third element, is we want to have a 15% market share in China in the next 5 years. So our business strategy really has these 3 components or elements as part of it. It's very specific. So the business strategy it's time bound. It describes when, who, and how we're going to measure success in business strategy. Our functional strategy takes this business strategy, this high-level business strategy, and it translates it down to all the various departments within an organization or a strategic business unit. Okay, so here's a good visual of it. We've got our business strategy up on the top, then our functional strategy for each one of these different areas. So human resources, marketing, accounting, IT, and then lastly, supply chain. Okay, so it takes this business strategy and it translates it to all the different functions. And so for this podcast, we're focusing on supply chain strategy. So supply chain strategy is executing the business strategy, and it has a specific support of the business strategy. So next, we're going to go into the ABCs of supply chain strategy. So supply chain strategy has, again, 3. We're using the rule of 3 here. Has 3 components, right? When we look at supply chain strategies, number 1, it's aligned with the business strategy. As we saw on the last slide, there's a connection with the business strategy. You can't have 2 separate strategies. Number 2, it builds value for the target market. Okay, so your customers, your target market, they've got to see value in what you're providing, and your supply chain strategy helps to build that value. So whether it's low cost or a differentiation strategy, maybe it's low cost, and your supply chain strategy helps support that by driving down costs. That's what Walmart does, by the way. And then core competencies are supported with supply chain strategy. All right, so the core competency, again, for Walmart, for Aldi, is their low cost, or their low cost. That's supported with supply chain strategy. So that's our ABCs. So hopefully you see value and you see all the pieces connected here through this podcast. This is Mark Spielis. Make it a great day. Thank you.